Yeah, Elon Musk is going to override the Dogecoin blockchain.
You heard it here first.
Oh, you can get a metaverse girlfriend that you can then... And I'm like, what? Like, what is this?
Oh, man.
And then, like, he
Then
was
my
saying...
not stalking you
girlfriend
enough.
is like looking
Right.
over your shoulder, really upset.
What's this all about? Who's she?
Hello there, and welcome to the Casual Coders podcast. My name is Kyle. I'm here today with quite a few of my friends. Can you each introduce yourselves? Start right here.
I am Chandler.
Hi, I'm Alex.
Quentin.
Awesome. I'm super glad to have everyone here today. Who wants to start off our first podcast topic?
I'm going to let Quentin go because I got to pull up my phone and get my notes for mine.
So, funny enough, I wanted to branch upon something that you guys talked about in the last podcast because I listened to it on my ride down to Columbus.
Nice.
Let's go.
So, you talked about your dreams.
Oh,
the very
yeah.
first dream that you had.
I remember
the very
hearing
first
this as well.
dream that I had is sort of similar to yours. It was before I was born.
No way.
Oh, boy.
It was,
Let's go. Oh, no.
It was a picture of my dad, because my dad's a veteran. A picture of my dad over in Korea that I had never seen before. And I don't know about you guys, but I also experienced like Deja Vu.
Oh, I do all the time. That one I feel.
And there's times where I've had dreams where it didn't happen until like 8 years later. And then I just have to sit back and I'm like, wait a minute.
What do you think deja vu is? Do you think it's like your brain predicting what's going to be happening? Or do you think like a similar situation like that has happened in the past is happening again?
I think it's the first one.
So
Like
I
your
also
brain simulates, for example, like while you sleep, like you like that's what is. Sorry, I'm totally talking over you.
Like, go ahead.
That's what they theory that dreams are. Like, why do we dream? It's because it causes a like simulation happen in your brain that you can prepare for what's going to happen. So it's a theory.
I believe in multiverse theory,
Oh, boy.
but I also believe, I have a weird take on it too.
I think Chandler does, too.
So the weird take that I have on it is technically you yourself. It's sort of like how if you ever watch Venom, he talks about that they are living in a hive mind. So every Venom across every multiverse knows everything that the other one does.
Really interesting. I didn't know that. Is that in the
So-
comics or?
Huh?
Is that in the comics or?
It's in the comics and they just explained it in Venom, the second Venom.
I see. I've not seen it yet.
I haven't either.
Okay.
But I know about it.
Spoiler alert. Well,
It's not really a spoiler. But I believe that you yourself are living so close to a version of yourself that's in the future or in the past that your timelines kind of in a way are like overlapping to the point where like you yourself are living such a similar life that they're letting you know, hey, this is exactly where you're going to be at this time.
So do you believe in determinism? Do you think free will exists if you think that you're always so close to another parallel universe that chemically at the like atomic level, everything's always determined how it's going to move and there is no free will, and no matter what you think you choose, it's all an illusion and it was going to happen anyway?
So I believe in a little bit of free will, but at the same time, because, yeah.
cool. I really hope I'm destined to be the next Elon Musk universe.
Just for the cash, right?
And then also expanding upon dreams. I don't know about you guys, but have you guys ever had hyper realistic dreams to the point where you can't differentiate between reality and the dream?
All of mine that I have that are hyper realistic are so close to my real life. I wake up and I think, wait, I didn't just do that. Like I had a dream where I woke up and I forgot to merge I had a dream where I forgot to merge a PR and like Steven was Steven was yelling at me for it.
That sounds like you're being overworked. Not
Or the school exam. Have any of you guys had the
Oh
school
yeah, I've had the exam
Yeah.
one too a few times. Yeah, that one I've had a lot.
The one that came to mind, I'm getting really into a weird deep topic and really into a deep hole.
It's
at
okay.
this
My
point.
topic's really deep, but it's really nerdy. So
We're
we'll
diving in.
So I had a hyper realistic dream not too long ago that was a recurring dream that I always had where my family would go to a library. But the library was like a normal house, kind of like this one. And then next door was kind of like a warehouse type deal where they actually had the books. Like this was kind of like the store, and then next door was like a library. That's usually where it would end. We would just spend the entire time there, but not like a few months ago when I was having like hyper realistic dreams every time I dreamt. There was this. It's weird. There was this group of assassins trying to kill us, But the weird thing is I could feel everything that was going on. I could feel the wind. I could feel the snow. I could feel the rain drop on me in the dream.
It's so crazy how realistic dreams can be.
And I could hear everyone's voice. There were people that were in the dream that I've never met before. That I called them out by name, and I'm like, and I woke up. It freaked me out. I almost swore. It freaked me out a lot. And I was sitting there in my bed, and I was just like, I don't know how to process what just happened.
They say, and I don't know if it's true, so I'm interested in how you guys feel about this, but any single face that you see in your dream is theorized that you actually have seen them before somewhere in life, because humans are apparently somewhat bad at like making a face up from scratch they've never seen before. So instead they pull from other things.
I've heard that theory.
I wonder
as well.
how you test that. Like, how does a scientist say, let me analyze your dreams real quick and see if the faces that you're dreaming are real or not?
Yeah, that's
Very hard to test.
Yeah.
Right.
Like what, you put it in an MRI scan and like try to see the brain and stuff?
Turn
Like,
31 waveforms into a face.
I remember seeing like probably about, it was 5 years ago, so I'll have to look into it more. But they were able to analyze someone's brain activity to get a really, really low resolution image of what their eyes were seeing.
I think
I wanted them to do that, but I want them to apply it to a dream.
I think that I did read research once where they did do that, and the way that they built the model was they would detect like something that they didn't know was happening, like didn't know how it's correlated. They'd wake the person up and be like, "What were you just dreaming about?" And they did that over and over and over and over again until they could fuzzily map, and then you can dream, and then they would like start to create a fuzzy image of what the person.
Now it was like
dreaming.
really fuzzy. It was like 30 pixels by like 30 pixels. Like
What a
it was
terrible night's sleep that must have been.
Yeah, imagine if you're like, and they're like, I was, because I'm sure they hit you in the middle of like all the different cycles of sleep, right? And
What were you just doing? Well, I was trying to sleep.
So true.
Well, I remember a dream that I had when I was a kid, and it was a very interesting dream. I had a dream that I think I'd been playing a lot of Call of Duty at the time. I had a dream that I was a soldier in World War II. All right. And I was on the Russian front, because I dreamed that I was a Russian soldier fighting Nazis. And in the dream, a Nazi soldier cut off my foot. And then I woke up having a foot cramp.
You were just reliving a past life. That must have been it.
Yeah.
Must been.
Well, the crazy thing is my family history. I actually had my grandfather actually lived during World War II in Hungary. But now that's probably
Why didn't he eat something?
But my great grandfather, my grandfather's dad, was in the Austro-Hungarian Empire. He was a soldier in the Austro-Hungarian Empire. And I mention that to people, and people usually, I don't know why people get mad when I say that. Oh, your great grandfather was a Nazi. I'm like, you guys don't know history very well, do you? What?
I don't know history very well. I'm totally
The
lost.
Austro-Hungarian Empire was Austria and Hungary used to be one country. Back in like the early 1900s during World War I, which was 1914 and 1918. My great-grandfather was a veteran of the Austro-Hungarian Empire, but as soon as World War I ended, part of the reparations is they split the countries in half. They split them into two countries.
And that was before the Nazis.
It was way before the Nazis. That was like 30 years before the Nazis.
Right. Just a twinkle in the eye of
my grandfather actually escaped the Nazis. He was the recruitment age for the Nazis, and he actually came to the United States to escape recruitment. Because he's like, yeah, screw this shit. I don't want to. I actually had uncles who fought in the Nazi regime but hated it the whole time, because their options were, hey, you can fight for us or we'll shoot you in the back of the head. Those were your options. So they had no choice, and they ended up coming into the United States after the war ended. And they weren't like in trouble for anything because they were just low-level soldiers. So
what are the rules for draft in the United States?
What are they now, or what were they?
Both.
Good question.
I guess now is the main question.
Back in the day, if they needed you, if you were over 18, they would call you in for an assessment. And
If you pass the assessment, you're off?
yep.
you pass the assessment,
I'm
you're off
pretty-
to D-Day. Good luck.
I'm pretty sure that's how it is now. Don't quote me on that.
I
but
thought I heard something recently that they want to make it so women women are just as equally a part of the draft, but I don't know if that ever got pushed.
I thought I also read that headline somewhere a long time ago.
But
don't think we
hopefully
should-
that doesn't matter, because it only matters in wartime.
I agree.
Which so far we're not really in.
yeah.
Well, that
Give it about 5 years.
it's actually
Yeah.
becoming harder and harder to get into the military because we have such a large military, and the standards are getting slowly increased.
I'll let everyone else fight over it.
Yeah, I'll let everyone else fight over it. I kind of want to shift topics a little bit. I don't know how we got on war from dreams, but actually,
Because you dreamt about being in
about
World War II.
Yeah,
There we go.
I was playing a lot of, I think, Call of Duty. I don't know. I was playing a lot of Call of Duty at the time. Whatever.
That's what Call of Duty does to people.
Dude, I've had
Video
dreams.
games.
No, I've had dreams where I've been like in games before. The worst was one of the side effects when you first start playing VR is nightmares. Did you know that?
Interesting.
That's a warning that Oculus gives you.
Whoa.
Yeah, that says, and I was one of the people that had that side effect. But
Like what? Please describe a VR-induced nightmare. I'm very
I
curious.
had a dream
and
that
poor.
I was playing. I don't even remember what games I was playing at the time, but I had a dream that I was like in a zombie apocalypse, that kind of stuff.
But were you
like,
playing zombie games?
I was playing Pavlov Call of Duty Zombies VR.
Okay, so there we go.
Ian.
So an immersive experience that feels that real when you're waking can certainly affect your
Yes,
dreams.
and
is
it
what
does.
warned
They
you.
said though that your brain has the ability to differentiate between what's real and what's not real. So after you play VR for like a certain amount of time, it stops happening.
But I guess the earlier
Your
point
brain
with the
gets
dreams,
better at it. Your brain gets
Right,
better
yeah.
at differentiating.
You
what's
start
real
to
and not.
learn.
Yeah,
But we already know when you're dreaming, you're pretty bad at differentiating what makes sense and what doesn't.
There's some things
Yeah.
you just can't do. Like sometimes I try to read in my dream and I like can't read the words.
That's
so I'm
a
like
great point.
I have
sitting
had-
there trying
Oh, okay.
really hard.
I'm gonna bring this full circle back to the name of the podcast. All right, I've had dreams about code.
Yeah.
Is it just Matrix like lines just floating
No,
by, or
like
is it-
actual dreams
Red pill
about,
or blue pill?
about code.
Yeah.
And then I try the code the next day and it fucking works. And I'm like, what the hell just happened?
It's still fresh in your mind, I guess.
I don't
You just
know.
had to sleep on it.
But it was, I don't know. I felt very mixed feelings about it. On the one hand, I'm like, oh, this is amazing. It worked. I'm like, am I too involved in work? Do I need to take a break?
Yeah, I'm no dream analyst, but so far your history tells me you're overworked.
I was also going to say, do any of you dream about being on your phone? I've
No.
never
Nope.
dreamt of my phone.
Never.
As much as I use it, I've never dreamt of my phone.
That's a good
I've
question.
never even had a dream where I was like in a phone call. I've never even had a dream about that.
I don't have phone calls in like the waking world, so
Yeah, in our generation, it's like if you're gonna call us, you better send us like a warning text message first.
seriously,
like,
let me know.
I'm not gonna
first.
answer.
I even started telling people because my service is so bad. I'm like, just email me and then I'll call you. It's just
Email.
easier. I avoid spam. I can prepare. I have it all ready.
How about DMs on like Instagram or something?
I don't have Instagram.
Oh, okay,
I'm
never
so
mind.
far. That's like the one ocean I've been avoiding, and it's worked so far. So I'm just gonna I'll
with
ride it out. I'll see how it goes.
So going back to Alex's opinion that he thinks I'm overworked, you're probably right. And here's the thing: the worst thing is it's by choice. Haley tells me all the time, "You need to take a break. You need to take a break. You're doing too much. You are going to like lose all your hair at 30."
Breaks
Like,
are important.
I am a very like I don't know. She's told me that I'm too driven almost to my job. I enjoy doing my job. I enjoy doing lots of things and keeping myself occupied.
I think you're really lucky in that sense though, because you do enjoy doing what you.
Yeah.
But it's to the point where it's like affecting my not code life. That's when it becomes a problem, and that's kind of where she's coming at.
Well, I
the
mean,
first
like
step
if
is
you're like,
admitting it.
if you're that's true. But I mean, like, let's say you're standing in line at like a grocery store and you're like kind of bored. Like, is thinking about like these problems just kind of like a fun thing to do bad?
No, and
I
I'm
mean,
the
you are
type
working
of
on
person.
code outside of doing code, but
I've like been driving once, and I've pulled over to the side of the road to take a note of something I'd have thought about.
That's a little unusual.
Yeah.
But okay.
I think that's good.
Yeah.
It sounds beneficial for your work.
I've done the same, but I normally just record like a voice memo.
I do the
Talk to my
same, but I
phone.
just actually text.
While driving. Bad.
I guess I don't drive anymore. I wake up and I'm
drive
like,
for
I
you?
guess I should start working.
That's true. I guess. Yeah, we are work from home now, so.
I don't have that long commute anymore. Although usually it's just like loud music and not thinking about work for another 30 minutes until I get there. But don't do
Yeah,
that much
that was
anymore.
pretty much my commute.
Yeah.
I remember working like
That's what my commute to school is.
Yeah.
like while I was in like high school, I did overnight like snowplow type work, which was a little rough. But I remember having like a time where it was like the weekend and it was snowing like really hard sequentially days in a row. So I was like wake up, go to work, do like the snow shoveling, snow plowing, whatever, and then go home, sleep, and then start again. And I remember I went home, I slept, and I dreamt about snow plowing, doing the work I did not like doing. And then the whole time I woke up and I was like, are you serious? I just spent so long snow plowing.
Yep.
Why?
You can't catch a break.
Yeah, I can't catch a break. Time to go do what I just did for the past 8 hours in my dream again. Like,
Yeah, Yeah, I still have dreams about my first like job in the fast food industry, and I'm always just like, oh, I'm still here. And
The
then I
one
wake
at
up and I'm
Domino's?
like, wow, no, even before that, I worked at that food court in the mall from like sophomore year of high school till just about my senior year.
Which
So
mall?
why do I have to say that?
I'm just curious. I'm just curious. Okay.
And I worked at Annie Ann's, right?
I think you've
flipping
mentioned that to me
pretzels.
before. You were the pretzel guy.
And it was so great because one of the biggest perks of working in the food court, especially in somewhere that throws out food every half hour, is you could eat so much free food. And I would always take home all the extras at the end of the night, and I bring them into school, and I was the coolest kid at school because I'd be eating like pretzels every day at lunch and like handing them out to people. And my
tip.
manager said I could not sell them, but I was allowed to give them away for free, so everyone loved me.
That's awesome.
But I'll still have dreams sometimes. So that was almost 10 years ago, and I'll still have dreams sometimes where I'm just like, oh, I'm still here. Like, why am I working here? Because in the dream, I'm like, why am I working here? It was like 3 or 4 jobs ago, but I still dream that I'm just doing work. And then I wake up and I was like, that was the most boring like recollection of an old memory of work that I've ever had. Why did that happen?
When I worked at the pizza shop, that was probably the worst. I've only ever had a bad dream about my job, my current job once.
Good
and that
for
was
you.
because like a week prior I had already been reprimanded for something I did. And I won't go into detail about that. Steven,
No?
you know what you yelled at me for.
Okay.
But the what happened when I worked at the pizza shop, that was the most stressful fast food job I think you could have because and like Brad wasn't inherently a bad person, but he was a very angry person when he was at work.
Brad is your manager?
Brad was the owner of the restaurant.
Oh.
And I worked directly with him all the time because usually the shifts I worked, there was no manager. He was the manager.
Uh-oh.
So he was quite angry. So I had dreams about it all the time, about work. About me getting yelled at. Oh, I missed an order. I'm getting screamed at for this.
Yeah.
All the time. And I mean like, by all the time, I mean like at least once every 2 weeks.
Oh.
It was terrible. And while I don't regret working that job, I don't miss it.
That's fair.
I don't miss that job because of how bad it was. There was plenty of good perks. Like, for example, a similar
pizza.
story to your food court story. My mom was having a party because my mom had parties like every weekend pre-COVID. And I mentioned it to my boss and he said, hey, we have like an extra large and like pizza that no one came and picked up. You just want to take it?
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, I'll take it. And
Absolutely.
and I was, of course, the coolest guy at the party because I brought home an extra large buffalo chicken pizza
man, yes.
about 3 hours after dinner. So everyone was just getting a little hungry and a little drunk. So they're like, yeah, buffalo chicken pizza.
You are the hero when you show up to the party with a pizza, especially if it's free.
Yeah.
100%.
People were getting the drunchies, and you filled
Yes.
the fix.
Yeah, I filled their fix with a buffalo chicken pizza.
Oh, man. Yes.
I will say though, like I think it is an actual thing where I guess related to dreams or not related to dreams. When you're working on a task, you get stuck. If you were to step away or even just go to sleep sometimes and you wake up, like your mind in the background, it feels like just idly like works on the problem
Oh, yeah.
and like you'll like come back to a situation. And some people, it's like whether or not you're refreshed from sleeping or you can like straight up go and like eat a sandwich, then come back and like be able to like do stuff. It's like your mind like works on it, like your subconscious works on it, and then you get back to the task and your subconscious is like, all right, here's all the stuff we found, let's do this. And you're
I
like,
am
all
some
right,
people.
bet.
Yes.
I am some people. I do that all the time.
Oh, I totally agree. I mean, even with your point of like sometimes even on my lunch break, if I have a problem that I'm like, this is an after lunch problem, usually that's enough. It's just enough going to lunch and thinking, okay, let's just not think about it. Let's just, eat my chicken sandwich or whatever it is that I want to eat, and then I come back an hour later, I'm like, yeah, I guess I haven't tried this yet. And there you go. That was the solution I
I
was waiting
said that
for.
phrase so much when I worked with Alex. This is an after lunch problem.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, that was kind of. It was a little different though because my current job, I don't have set lunch breaks. I don't even have set hours. So that
Dangerous.
yeah, But like, I guess when I worked at an office job with Alex, that was kind of like the thing was our lunch breaks. Especially like, I used to go with Cameron all the time to lunch because Cameron and I never packed a lunch. Him and I would always go out to eat like to Wendy's or whatever. Me and Ian did as well.
Yep.
Ian. But yeah, I don't know. It was very interesting to like get out of the office, like get a fresh start, and it helped out a lot. But going out to eat every lunch is expensive.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah,
Save that money.
Save that. And then I think the last like, I don't know. Well, the last like 3 months I worked there, I only worked like Fridays. So of course that was your guys' day to go out to eat at lunch.
It didn't help, right?
No, it didn't help. But no, I don't know. So I want to shift topics a little bit,
All right.
but I don't know. I've already had about 2 drinks. I don't know if I can actually talk about my topic without screwing up my word.
Good luck. We're all rooting for you.
Because it is a really complicated topic.
Okay.
What is this complicated topic you speak of?
Crypto.
With whiskey, all things are possible.
Yes, I'm going to bring this up.
All right,
now.
so just preference for
well,
the
okay.
audience.
You know what? I'm gonna give you guys a choice. I can talk about my Florida vacation, or I can talk about crypto and talk about crypto in the next episode, or I can talk about crypto now, and I can talk about my Florida vacation.
Talk about crypto now because you'll probably have more drinks by the time you do the next episode.
Yeah, better do it while you still have.
And then we'll get better stories about the vacation.
Yeah,
later.
that's true. Yeah. Well,
All right, so
This is what the hell happened.
no, currently for my job, I was told by my boss that he wants me to spend about 80% of my time just doing research about crypto, how it works, all this other stuff. I'm not going to tell anyone why, at least publicly. In private, I will tell you guys all you want to know while we're going out to lunch.
dying to find out.
So, I think I've already
Like, are you buying crypto or like what do you mean?
well, we're learning on about how it works.
Okay,
Like from
from a
a
blockchain level
from
or?
a code level.
I see.
So further than the blockchain from a code level, how it works.
As a casual coder, it's still black magic to me. I have
Oh,
no
so
idea
this
how
is
it
the
works.
perfect.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. I wrote down. So I was at your level when he told me this.
Okay.
I knew nothing.
Yes, you did. How many hours of research?
In the past 2 weeks, I've done probably about 80 hours of research.
Woo! Is there like an Iron Man meme for this? Like, when did you become an expert on this?
Last night.
Yeah. All right, let's hear it.
So
When did you become an expert on thermonuclear astrophysics? Last night?
So are you familiar with how a blockchain works?
I understand the blockchain because it took me forever to download. Back in like 2013, where I made the mistake of signing up for a crypto mining pool and then made like 0.01 cents and then thought this is a waste of my time and resources, so that I never revisited it again.
So the blockchain is effectively a public database. Okay. And then each block is a chunk of data.
What is a database?
A database is a place to store data. I guess all I have there. And, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so a blockchain stores data.
A blockchain stores data, but it stores data in a public way that you cannot modify old data. So what it does is that a block is just a chunk of data, and the chain is all of the history of all of those blocks of data tied together with a cryptographic function that I don't understand yet.
Okay, good. Not just me.
That makes it so you can't go back and change the history, and if you do, everyone else on the blockchain will disagree with you. The whole point of a blockchain is to have a database that's shared across hundreds, even thousands of computers. So if one computer gets corrupted, or if one bad actor joins the blockchain and tries to change the history, everyone else is going to say, no, screw you, you're wrong, and
Right.
vote them off, or force them to change to the correct blockchain.
Yeah, that makes sense. But I
You
guess
have
that
been
means
voted off of the island.
Yeah.
No, seriously, that happens. That happens.
But I guess that means that if, let's say there's like, I don't know, 500 computers that are running this blockchain, if 501 computers join with their own history.
Yes, that's called a 51% attack.
Oh, really?
Oh, the
That's
weakest link.
interesting.
Yes, it's called a 51% attack. There's a thing that happens.
It has a name.
But for like the blockchains that we're researching and that we're working with, there's already literally thousands of nodes. That would be
Right.
nigh impossible to do.
Right.
Yeah, just,
Especially like Ethereum was one of the big ones we were researching, and Avalanche was the other one we're researching. Both of those have enough nodes that that's almost impossible.
Yeah, the sheer volume like you would need to be able to
Do a
try to
51%
subvert the
attack.
current blockchain
Yeah, you-
is basically impossible.
Yes,
you'd need
correct.
like a billionaire to be like, you know what? Screw this blockchain individually.
I'll make
Screw
my
this
own
one in
blockchain
particular.
with blackjack and
He's gonna,
hookers.
yeah. Elon Musk is gonna override the Dogecoin blockchain. All right, so
Screw it, I'm going to bite your shiny metal ass.
Okay, so blockchain stores data and you doesn't change the history. Does that mean like data can't change? Like, let's say, like I know it's used
you can
for
add
dollar
new data
amounts.
to it. Yeah, you can add new data to it, and you can add new transactions to it, but you can't change old transactions and old data.
So let's say I have $5 in my account,
Yeah.
right? Does that mean in the future I'll always have $5 in my account then?
If you do nothing, yes.
Okay, but let's say I'd make trades. Then it would go back and change that $5, right?
It would change the five. It wouldn't change that moment's record that you have $5.
Yeah. So in the
It would-
past, it would still say I had
It's
$5
kind of-
at that
so
time.
for those of
and
you
here's my
who know
new-
Git, it's kind of like Git, where all Git is a history of changes. It's like that, where all it is saying, oh, well, he had $5 on this date. He then subtracted $4 on this date.
That makes sense. So it's just the changes then. So then,
More or less, yes.
okay, because otherwise, if you were to just go and like look at the most recent block, I guess, in the blockchain, it would just have everyone and how much money they own.
Yeah. So, and then how these blocks get changed. There's like four ways. I think Alex and I discussed it last night. There's four ways
did.
that these blocks can get changed. There's proof of work.
Oh, yes, okay.
That's the most popular one. That's all the crypto miners who are buying our fucking GPUs.
We're all
I
very
hate proof
upset.
of work. I love the blockchain and I love the concept of it, but I fucking hate proof of work. It
I
is
need
the
a new
worst
GPU.
possible
Please.
way you can do this.
Well, I
GPU
mean-
at MSRP. Is that too
Okay,
much
let me
to
rephrase
ask?
it. It's not the worst possible way, but it is the most annoying way for consumers.
Yes.
That's the best
Yes.
way to
GPU
put it.
consumers, I guess, in particular.
Yeah. So,
Because
how
like
the-
me on my crypto app, I'm fine and dandy, right? But
But like, so how proof of work works is that you have a bunch of GPU power that's then used to change the blockchain, and people vote and compete to change the blockchain. That's the reason why you need so much power, because you're competing with other nodes on the blockchain.
right. Oh, but here's the thing, right? Is there are these things called miners, right?
That's what
the
the miners
GPUs
are.
are for.
Yes.
What is a miner in respect to this chain of blocks that we've been talking
They are
about?
creating new transactions and new changes and new updates. So say I want to make a transaction on the blockchain. I put out a bid. I put out this transaction publicly. It says, hey, I need this transaction done. These GPU miners then compete to complete this transaction.
So
as
is that when
fast
they
as
say?
possible.
Is that when they're talking about a hash? All that is a checksum of a list of transactions.
Correct.
That makes so much sense. I've learned more about the blockchain right now than I've ever learned. Okay.
But
I've never touched the blockchain, so all this is brand new information to me. But it's
Pretty interesting.
yeah.
I think like they come up with a random checksum that goes along with the transaction,
Correct.
right?
Correct. Yes.
So then it's basically the only way to guess what the solution to that checksum is to just guess, right?
Yes. And
So-
they guess, and then whoever does it first gets the reward, which is the cryptocurrency that has value.
So that's how this makes money is
Yes.
by being
on
the
Ethereum,
fastest to do
it's
the
called
work.
Ether.
fastest or most luckiest,
On
I guess.
Bitcoin, it's called Bitcoin. On Avalanche, it's called AVAX, but Avalanche doesn't use proof of work. They use proof of stake.
What's it called on Turtle Coin?
I have no idea.
But Doge.
So
Doge is proof of work.
Sorry, it's a dead shit coin. I don't even know if it exists anymore.
proof of stake, does it have to do with stakes like yum or
No. No. So proof of stake, it's stake, STAK, in the sense that you own a portion. You have stake in a company. It's like that. You have stake in the blockchain because you own either to do proof of stake, you have to have a computer, okay? You have to have at least 32 Ethereum coin,
You
Ether.
keep talking about steak makes me want Texas Roadhouse.
I could get Haley's employee discount number.
We're going to try to stay focused.
Anyway, so proof of stake, you have to have 32 Ethereum or 2,000 AVAX coin, which is what the Avalanche blockchain uses.
Okay.
Which, by the way, is about $150,000.
Wow, that's it?
That's a small loan.
Yeah, very small. But here's the thing. Well, let me
you
go
have to
over.
have money to make money.
Correct. No,
Yep,
that's the
yep.
whole point. So you need a computer, and you don't need a GPU on this computer. You just need I think technically you could do it on a Raspberry Pi if you really wanted to. You don't need a lot of computing power. That's the whole point of the new move to proof of stake. And then what you do is
Does that mean the more money you have, the more money you make?
correct.
That's so weird. Doesn't that mean it'll shift towards being centralized? Because you'll just have one person who just makes more and more money and therefore has more and more stake that they're having. So you have this giant mound of
You earn about $1 a day. So
per $100,000.
per 150,000. Currently on, if you have 2,000 Avalanche coin. I only know about Avalanche. I didn't do that much research into Ethereum for how much you make, because we're the company that we're working on, and the reason why I'm researching, we're looking really hardcore into Avalanche. But you make about $1 to $2 a day off of Avalanche for staking, for having one of these nodes.
Whoa. No one would do it then. They would invest their 150K somewhere else.
There's
and
some-
get 7% return.
There's some I can explain to you how
Okay.
there's some more technologies behind that, how that works.
Okay.
But with Ethereum, you make probably about the same, roughly the same. Proof of stake, how it works is that these validators, instead of competing, these validators are chosen at random. So
Pure
they're
random?
Pure random.
Who gets to choose the random?
I don't know.
Okay.
That I didn't do research.
Magic.
But it's pretty it's not pure random, but it's as close to random as you can get.
I see. Like,
Yeah.
It's
Just like that.
It's pretty close to random. So then it's the
cosmic
random,
background radiation sampling or something.
Sure.
I
yeah.
don't know.
But they're chosen at random, and then they validate the transaction, they add the transaction to the blockchain, and then rinse and repeat, and how that works. And for validating, you get a reward token, just like you did for proof of work. And currently, like I said, you need about 32 Ethereum or Ether coin, and you need about 2,000 Avalanche coin, which Avalanche coin's sitting at about, I think it was like $90 a coin. So whatever 98 times 2,000 is, a freaking lot. There's
Well,
these,
100 times 2,000, right? So
There's
2,000 with 2 extra zeros, 200,000.
I don't want to do mental math right now.
200,000.
there's a concept what's called pooling, where everyone pools their money together,
Right.
and then does one node. But
You
that
have
has
to.
that's the but that there's some people who have a lot of coin.
No, I mean, but I meant for like.
Because here's the
average
thing:
users.
about a year ago, Avalanche was only sitting at about $10 a coin.
So you're saying we should invest?
Well, I'll get to that
Stonks.
later.
Legal disclaimer: we can't tell you to invest.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
There is actually a podcast that I've been listening to called Bankless that's all about crypto and like decentralized finance and like getting out of big banks and instead going into crypto for your primary finance source.
Libertarian
Interesting.
utopia, right?
Extremely, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so then there's two other proofs, and these ones I don't know as much about, if I'm honest, because I wasn't concerned, because my research didn't concern these.
Sure.
I did look into proof of storage because I considered making a chia farm. That's what Chia doesn't call it
What
mining.
is-
Chia calls it farming because they thought it was funny.
What is proof of storage?
Proof of storage is just I have this much storage here. I will get coin based on this much storage I have.
I
What are
see.
they? Do you know what they're storing?
Yeah, what are they
I don't
storing?
know.
So it's not
That-
like
one of the concepts ideas, I don't think Chia does this, but one of the ideas was, what if we did this as like a decentralized file server?
Yeah, like a Google Drive, but for everyone or something.
That's
Yeah,
a concept. That's
additional-
that's what IPFS is based off of, which is a decentralized storage system,
It sounds like a botnet, but like with extra steps.
and people can share it.
Okay.
Ooh, I
Well,
will
it's not processor intensive, right? So it's not like bot. It's like storage. Bot.
Sure.
Yeah, correct. And then there's also proof of authority, but proof of authority has the issue of, you know how you were talking about a 51% attack?
Yes.
It's that, but as like a blockchain provider.
Hold on, what?
Yeah, and
gonna
that's
have
why
to
nobody
connect
uses
more.
it. That's why nobody uses it, because one person holds all the cards and one person can make all the decisions.
Is it proof of like majority?
Proof of authority is
But
what
what
it's
does that
called.
mean?
There was an authority in this sense.
The
you know?
authority-
Sort of like an authoritarian regime where the person that
Relating this to government.
it's how I'm making the connection in my head.
We gotta
Okay,
make it somehow.
I don't know anything about authoritarian regimes.
It's similar.
it's
monarch.
It's
One
similar
person-
to proof
One
of
guy
stake
with all the power.
Oh,
in
I
the
see, I
concept,
see.
But
Yeah.
there's only like a couple of parties with all the power
Yeah, there's only one person with all
who
the
can
power.
decide how much coin.
That's just-
what
Is it the maker of the
transactions
That's
you
coin?
how I'm
run.
making the connection
Sure.
in my
Has.
head, so that way I can kind of understand what you're talking about.
But proof of stake is the future. That's the gist of this.
Interesting.
Proof of stake is what Ethereum is transitioning from proof of work, which is what it is now, to proof of stake. Avalanche is already on proof of stake, and there's a few other coins that are also on proof of stake, like Polkadot and a few other similar ones.
You said
and
there's 4 though.
What?
What are they? There is.
there's proof of work, proof of stake, proof of storage, and proof of authority. Proof of authority would be like, oh, say a company wants to use a blockchain as a database.
I see.
That's what proof of authority would be used for.
Interesting.
I
Because
thought that
there are like real world uses that like for example, they're talking about transitioning a lot of banks to blockchain technology.
I think they probably should be. I mean, it
Yeah, that makes
seems
sense.
much better.
Yeah, right now they just have like an Excel spreadsheet and they're
No,
expected
not an
to
Excel
So-
spreadsheet. I would say an SQL database.
There's a piece of COBOL code that's been running this thing since the 70s, and it's still, if there's 1 0 off, suddenly everyone's accounts go negative. I don't know.
So without completely incriminating myself, because
So you say allegedly.
Allegedly.
No, I can't talk too depth into about
Oh, that's
it.
fine. That's fine.
My old job, I used to work on security. I used to work
Oh,
on
that makes sense.
I used to work at banks and do their ATMs and stuff. And
Him in my phone, his job is bank robber.
That's hilarious.
I plead the fifth. So most like Bank of America, one of the biggest banks in America, is getting rid of brick and mortar banks, and they're going to all online users, and they're going to because 90% of, I think it's actually like 96% of all transactions and anything that you need can be done at an ATM. So the only time you'd actually need somebody is for like a loan or anything. So you walk.
I mean, I'd
in,
imagine just on your phone, even
Right.
like,
Yeah.
without an ATM.
And all online banks are like a common thing. Like Ally is all online. They don't have brick and mortar banks.
yeah, I
You
agree.
walk into this little like convenience store. You sit down and there's an iPad in front of you, and that's how you get the loan. I'm sidetracking. Right before I was leaving, they were talking about completely going cloud-based and blockchain based.
See,
I see.
exactly. See,
Bank of
that's
America
what-
is doing that, and so the other two biggest banks in America, Wells Fargo and Chase, J.P. Morgan, will
Probably are also doing the
probably
same
going to be doing that.
Yeah.
Same
So
thing.
cloud-based and blockchain-based are 2 different technologies, technically. Though.
However, you can do blockchain on the cloud.
Well, what are the 2 of them? I guess just to clarify.
So the cloud basically just means you have like there's just servers. You can have what's called a private cloud where you host your own servers and stuff. But normally when people just talk the cloud, they just mean a data center somewhere.
Yeah.
That's just what they mean. So like, oh, it could be on Amazon, could be on Google, could be on Microsoft's cloud, whatever.
So instead of being stored on a computer inside the bank physically, it's
It would be
stored
in the
in a
cloud
data center
somewhere.
hosted by some
I
provider.
think Chase uses AWS. Don't quote me on that. I'm not 100% sure. But anyway, proof of authority is how the banks would do it.
Interesting.
to have a blockchain.
Because what, they have the most authority in the network.
They
so
would
won't
have all
to-
of the authority.
Well, I hope they would. Yeah. I mean, but would they share any of that to like have someone else responsible for
I don't
keeping
know.
their network alive?
I mean,
They're
I guess
actually-
in a sense of a government, that might be the one that they would choose, I guess.
Yeah.
right?
Because that's the big thing. The big reason why crypto scares people is because it's not insured.
Ah, yes.
'Cause
The
it's
not
FDIC doesn't
FDIC
cover
insured.
No.
blockchain, huh?
Yeah, no, they don't.
Interesting.
So it's really risky investments. However,
Yeah.
I am young. I can take the risk. If I lose everything, I don't really go anywhere. I just kind of have to get a loan for college. That's about the only thing that happens.
You're in a dorm and you're still in a dorm.
But like, so I'm gonna go over a little bit more how proof of stake works because that's where I've done all of my research into, like from a more technical level that us programmers and us computer nerds would enjoy.
Really
me
quickly,
strap
though,
in.
I think I heard of a different one, like rumblings of that, it called proof of connection.
Oh, I don't.
probably picking it up.
For the sweet, sweet audio
drink to that,
listeners.
brother.
ASMR.
ASMR.
So we went from a podcast to ASMR.
Yep. Just a little treat, you know? Like,
So
you're
anyway,
welcome.
Chandler, proof of stake.
proof of connection is what he was talking
Oh,
about.
proof of connection.
Proof of connection is just start as many freaking connections as you can, and that gives you all the stake in the.
What is a
blockchain.
connection?
Yeah, what do we mean by
I'm pretty
connection?
sure it's just like literally a TCP connection to like all of the blockchain nodes.
So opening a socket,
Pretty
which
much.
I could do on a Raspberry Pi or even like a
yeah,
Node
I don't know a
MCU.
whole heck of a lot about proof
Okay.
of connection because it's not very common.
I see.
But having a large
Okay.
interconnected network like the internet might be useful in a
Exactly.
sense. Like, what if
That's
you could
the point.
monetize the internet, right?
Yeah, that's the point.
Interesting.
I mean, is that a good thing or a bad thing? I don't know.
Well, yeah,
Say
exactly.
goodbye to
Keep
your
them
bandwidth.
separate, and I'm okay with it.
It's so hard. Like storage, rip, your storage prices suck.
Right.
Proof of work, rip, your graphics card prices suck, and your processor prices suck. Proof of connection, rip, your Wi-Fi routers and bandwidth. Like
Man,
proof of authority, rip, you're only like under one person. Good luck.
Good thing I know how to get a whole bunch of 18 terabyte hard drives for the extra cheap right now.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Yeah.
They have a sale.
So proof of stake, that's why everyone's moving to proof of stake, is because it's the cheapest and it's the big thing is the environmental concerns.
Oh, yeah.
That's part of the reason which I'm not going to say I agree with the Chinese government because I don't like them. But that's
now
the
you've made an
whole-
enemy.
That's like one of the reasons they banned crypto mining in their country is
Wo-
because they were
Wobushwala.
destroying the power grid.
So I'm okay with having China as an enemy.
Yeah. But the other reason
They want to protect the environment. Let's make them our enemy. Is that what I'm hearing?
There's a lot of
the
reasons.
other reason they banned crypto
Naga,
The other reason they banned crypto is because it's decentralized and as untrackable as you can get on the internet.
I see.
Because
okay.
your transactions are anonymous. Yeah, there's a hash connected to them, but there's no name connected to those hashes. The anonymous way to go, this is not legal advice. The anonymous, in my opinion, the way to go, if you want to be anonymous on the internet, do all of your transactions in crypto. And have your money spread apart in as many fucking crypto wallets as you can.
So what does anonymous mean in this context? Just out of curiosity.
Anonymous means that there's no name attached to the wallet.
Kind of like
crypto wallet.
when you have a bank account, of course, you have an account number, but then you also...
And you have and a lot of times your social security number is
right,
connected to your
tied
bank
to that account number is your name, your current address, maybe even like a dependent or another alternate contact and a phone number and an address, all this information. But when you use Bitcoin, usually you just have a hash as your account number and that's it.
There's nothing
see.
else.
And
to
you
do
don't-
to it.
no
And
personal
and there's a
information.
passphrase to get into the account.
Sure.
That's it.
I see. Okay. So
Our audio technician is currently dying laughing.
Was that fucking loud?
He's dying laughing
Thank you
at
for coming to
Quentin's
the
ASMR.
Casual Coders ASMR podcast.
Thermos was a bad idea for my drink.
So how
anyway.
Yeah, what
so
were we
how
talking about?
proof of stake node validation? I think. I
Oh
explained-
wait. I was asking about anonymization.
anonymization. Yeah.
Anonymization.
So yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
So does that mean like with on a block, right, is how much value each account has, right? Each hash. Does that mean whenever I buy from someone, like I don't see who they are, but I can see what their hash is?
Correct.
Yes.
And then can I also see how much money they own then?
No.
You cannot see their account balance, no.
But isn't that on the blockchain?
You could theoretically calculate it, but when there's a transaction in Bitcoin or any other, blockchain inspired transaction, it's like one wallet, another wallet, amount.
Correct.
They're
correct. That is
something
exactly what
else? That's it?
happens. Yes.
Okay, so
So
that's
I-
what the blockchain contains.
So what you're saying is I need to go not only look at that block, but take all the other blocks in history.
Previous block, previous block, previous block, previous
add
block,
them
previous
together,
block. Yes.
And then it would be possible
That's
for
how
me
the
to see
wallets
what
pretty.
they're...
The wallets pretty much just say, okay, here's a hash. This
Right.
is all of the transactions with this hash.
But an interesting thing that you bring up, though, is that a lot of people want to keep their transactions private too, and will often switch their wallets. Honestly, people that do shady transactions in Bitcoin or other,
Ethereum is the big one
cryptocurrency
right now, yeah.
will recommend and even like stress the importance of changing your wallet ID. If you use the same wallet ID for a transaction, you're foolish if you are trying to keep a low profile in whatever it is that you're doing. So they'll often tell you never use the same wallet twice.
There are even like Bitcoin wallets that advertise like basically it's Bitcoin laundering where they'll they'll just change your wallet address every like 24 hours or something.
And this is why the Chinese government doesn't like
Exactly. No, this
cryptocurrency.
is why like they claim it's for environmental, but that's bullshit.
I mean, they
I mean,
they
part of it
don't
probably
want
is, but-
transactions that they can't track, and that's kind of one of the features, at least, that having that anonymity in a transaction history would provide.
Okay, I have a
It's easy to launder money. I
have a
mean, I'm not
clickbait
saying you should
title
do
for
it.
this.
I'm ready.
Our clickbait title for this is going to be Why China Banned Bitcoin.
Why China banned our podcast?
Hooray.
All right. Should I go deeper in the rabbit hole real quick?
Sure.
There's one like Taiwan's a country.
Cut it out. Cut it out.
I feel myself getting flamed right now.
I'm never getting hired by any company that's partially owned by Tencent. Anyway,
That
Just on
was
behalf
was
of
Quentin.
the,
But does-
that
so-
said it.
renminbi,
Okay, so last question.
I don't condone or.
So
That was Quentin that said that. So
last
I'm
episode-
joking. I should mention. I'm joking.
Meguanxi.
How much Mandarin do you speak? Just wondering.
None.
All right.
All right, last question about authority. Let's say one of you guys, we're doing a Venmo situation, right? We're out to lunch, and I want you guys to, I'm covering the bill or whatever, and I have you guys pay me in crypto, the equivalent, right? So now I know all your guys' wallet addresses, and then I can see how much money you guys own. Correct?
Okay, cool. But like, what if we're like the way he was saying, where you just change your wallet address like every 24 hours? Doesn't matter then, does it?
But then what I'll do is I'll just look and see what wallet addresses you've traded with in the past and look at their account balances.
So I guess an
Now try to
example
do that,
is-
but with terabytes upon terabytes upon terabytes
Oh, the
upon
blockchain is
terabytes
so annoying to
upon
download.
terabytes
It's
of data.
so much. But here's the other thing you can think. I mean, if you don't have the accounts linked together, let's say I can just have 1,000 accounts that all have $10 in them, which isn't really practical. But that means if you say, hey, can I have $10 from your crypto wallet? I could just pick one, which again isn't very practical, and give you that $10. And now there's no history attached to this account. But for me, I have 1,000 accounts with $10 in it. So I have all this money you don't know about and will never know about unless you ask for every other wallet address. So I mean, that's one of those
Exactly.
things. Oh, I can funnel, $20,000 into this account and then immediately spend it on something else that's $20,000, and that's one account, one peer-to-peer transaction that is not at all linked to the rest of the blockchain.
And every account has a unique address that cannot be replicated.
Yes,
I see.
so
Yeah, it's really
it gets complicated.
yeah, it's really interesting because there's crypto as a form of transaction, like money, and there's crypto as a form of like.
I can't say it if too much alcohol.
Anonymity.
Yeah, what he said.
But then there's,
Enemy.
but then there's also crypto for the sake of like investments, like stocks. Because
Right.
crypto, the value of it itself fluctuates over time as well.
Right.
Kind of interesting.
It is very interesting. It's one of those very high risk, high reward, potentially, kind of investments because
Yeah, I feel like it would be a whole thing to like whenever I want to make a transaction, I make a transaction, I buy the associated amount of coin, make the trade, and then immediately convert it back to
USD.
USD. Is that a thing that people do?
Yes, and there's also this concept called stable coins, where it is a coin that is on the blockchain and that can be used anonymously, but holds value based on a specific what crypto people call a fiat currency, which is just a normal currency. So, for example, on the Ethereum blockchain, there's USDC, which is USD coin, and one USD coin is roughly equivalent to $1 US.
That's really interesting though, because I'm sure they probably do like proof of work or something similar for their
No.
coin. What do they use? Proof of authority?
don't know. They use
Magic.
because it's on the blockchain. They can use whatever they want. They actually do what's called an ERC20 token. You can actually mint new tokens on any blockchain that's Ethereum based, called an ERC20, and that these tokens can then be traded just like normal Ethereum into wallets.
Interesting, but doesn't that mean the USDC or USC? Which one is it?
USDC. So USDC, its current, for everyone, it has some sort of algorithm, some sort of fancy way. They mint tokens based on how many US dollars are theoretically in circulation.
Interesting. So it's
And
like
they
a
can just
mirror of
mint
the
them.
treasury.
It just costs them like a small Ethereum fee to mint them.
Huh.
Yeah, so it's another way to like print money, I guess.
Yeah. So the whole point, the reason why USDC was made was actually so people could do like Venmo transactions and stuff like that, but with crypto. Now, that being said, because of our current economic situation, which I do not want to go into detail, one USDC is now 99 cents.
That's pretty close.
Oh, that's
It is pretty close, but it's less than $1.
Yeah.
So,
weird. All right. Anyways, sorry. So that was my
or maybe it's the other way around. Maybe it's one USD is 99 hundredths of a USD coin. I'll have to look.
Whatever.
It up.
Yeah.
Either way, whatever's the worst one, it's that.
Close, but not exact.
But anyway, so I'm trying to think. What was your? Did anyone have any?
That was my anonymity question. So now we can go back to you're about to talk about the proof of stake.
So another thing with how proof of stake works is that, say for example, you have a node that's running a proof of stake, what's called a consensus algorithm. That's what proof of stake is, where they run the consensus. Well, that's what all proof of whatever is a consensus algorithm that says, okay, everyone in the blockchain agrees it's this block of data that goes onto the chain. Mm-hmm. So how they like say reward you is that you keep the node up, and when you put stake into the node. Say, for example, you have 32 Ethereum in a node, and all of a sudden your server goes offline for 20 minutes. You lose out on 20 minutes of Ethereum, right? Well, now say, for example, instead, it goes offline for days, and there's one less node. You can actually lose stake in your Ethereum for having your node offline for too long. Like, they'll take money from you.
You can lose ones of dollars.
If you now,
more.
okay. So so what's stopping people from a 51% attack, like you were saying, or even just attempting one? So one of the ways that Ethereum does that is that, say for example, you try to push a bad block, and they can tell. I don't know how they do it, but they can tell when you change the blockchain history. When they detect that, they just take all your money away.
Damn.
Yeah, I don't know if they take it away or the
problem is like, who is they in the situation?
Yeah, because if it's
right?
decentralized,
Entire
who's
blockchain.
the central?
the
The
is
rest
the
of the
whole
blockchain?
blockchain.
So
yes.
So
in
a
this
51% attack is still available because they becomes the newcomers.
Yeah,
Oh.
but if you attempt a 51% attack and you fail, you lose all the Ethereum you were using for staking.
I see.
That's
So there's
interesting.
just
So it's a
incentivization.
very not only risky in a sense of like you could get into
And I'm
trouble with
not
somebody
sure-
breaking your kneecaps, but you also lose a lot of money.
Yeah, and I'm not 100%
So
sure.
essentially, mafia.
Yeah,
Yeah, kinda.
I'm not sure. I've heard of what they call burning, which means they basically invalidate the tokens. The blockchain says you can't trade these tokens anymore. They are burned.
I see.
The MDM, modern day mafia.
The decentralized currency now has marked bills that aren't able to be spent anymore.
Yeah.
They just want to make real currency with extra steps. That's what it is.
Yeah,
I mean,
so-
that's pretty much what it is, right? Just it has
Sure.
the extra steps give you certain advantages that normal currency doesn't.
Sure.
Now how are these rewards created? Now they're not always created from they usually when you do proof of work, they are rewarded and these new tokens are created. However, you can also earn tokens that already exist by being a crypto miner or being a proof of staker. And how that works is that, say you put out a transaction, you put out a transaction, you can do what's called tipping, which you spend more to do that transaction faster, and whoever does that transaction quicker gets the tip, and they get to keep it. The
Interesting.
node that does it gets
You have to
keep
pay
it.
money to spend your money.
Correct.
You kind of have to do that
it's
anyway,
it's
right?
like checks.
It's an ATM fee.
Ethereum calls it a gas fee.
A gas
Are
fee.
any
Okay.
of them named Candace, Crystal, Tiffany?
What?
I'm so
So
lost.
the
You
gas
tip
fee,
strippers.
I see.
the gas fee is burned. The gas fee is marked as not able to be spent anymore.
Last I checked, the gas fee was $3.15 a gallon.
I got it for $2.99 today.
Damn, shorty.
Screw you.
I'm trying to think of the last time I filled up my tank. I don't really leave the house.
But the gas fee is burned for the
That's
most
interesting.
part.
So also, in order to have a node, I need a certain amount of $150,000 worth of coin in the node.
Yes.
Is there any worry that $150,000 of coin gets burned in some way, shape, or form?
If you tried a 51% attack.
But
that
no
it?
other reason will it go
Correct.
away? Okay.
You can do anything with Bitcoin.
Or Ethereum is what I'm talking about. So
Or
Ethereum is moving
blockchain.
towards proof of stake. Like I said, they want to get away from proof of work. Currently, they're calling it Ethereum 2.0, and Ethereum 2.0 is still in beta. So you can do proof of stake if you want. However, you can't take your money out of the node yet. So you put it in the node, but the code isn't there to take it out of the node.
That's hilarious.
So it could be days, it could be weeks, it could be years.
It could be never.
So it's
It
the
could be
new
ever.
proof of loss of money.
That being said, there are already literally almost billions of dollars worth of Ethereum already in proof of stake right now that people are trusting that code will be implemented.
Ethereum 2.0.
Yeah.
So you can buy Ethereum 2.0 right now. It's
Well,
a different coin.
any
than
Ethereum, no, it's the same coin.
So I can transfer Ethereum to Ethereum 2.0.
Yes, theoretically, because Ethereum and Ethereum 2.0 are the same coin. How you make more coin is changing. The actual blockchain is not.
So is the motivation between all these forks? Like I know, like isn't Bitcoin Cash a fork of Bitcoin?
Correct.
So and then was Litecoin a fork of something?
I think Litecoin is related to Ethereum.
Okay,
But I don't remember how.
Are all these forks just somebody liked the idea of a coin and thought maybe I'll do this but with some different rules?
Yes, and the new push is not doing that. The new push is making coin on existing blockchains. Like I was telling you, USD coin is a coin on the Ethereum blockchain. There's also RETH and RPL, which are also on the Ethereum blockchain. Now, transitioning, RETH and RPL are Rocket Pool's tokens that are used for liquid staking. And the concept of liquid staking is that you can deposit any amount of Ethereum, you get back a liquid staking token. And then at any time, you can trade your liquid staking token back for your Ethereum that you already deposited. However, the longer you hold that Ethereum token, the more Ethereum you get back as interest.
It's like a bond.
Yes.
Interesting.
That's exactly what it is from a financial standpoint.
Interesting.
Now, if you host your own, Rocket Pool does it in this way where the idea of Rocket Pool is that you can host your own mini nodes. And a mini node, or they're not mini nodes, you can have multiple mini nodes within a node, but you can host your own Rocket Pool node. And you have to put 16 Ethereum into a Rocket Pool node instead of 32. So it costs you half as much. And then you both get the normal Ethereum rewards back for staking, and you also get RPL token, which you can then sell for additional money. One RPL token is roughly $38.
It's really weird because it sounds like we're getting more and more like those smartphone games where they have a bunch of different currencies in order to abstract away how much money you spend to get you to spend more money.
But it's all worth real money.
So
At the end of the day, you can exchange it for real. But you can't exchange mobile game currency
that's
for
fair.
money.
That's a good
You can
analogy. Is that it's
exchange-
not one way.
Yeah, this is two ways.
You can get a bucket of real money gems for only $12.99, but you can also turn them back into money.
Yeah. And then like the other big pull of all of this blockchain crap, and I'm not calling it crap, it's just a lot for people to take in.
It really is.
All of this blockchain stuff, the big pull is you can host websites on the blockchain now. You can
Really?
host decentralized code and websites on the blockchain that don't run on one server, they run on all the servers.
Yeah, you're right because it's just data, right? Because
Exactly.
fundamentally we were just
It's
talking about
just transactions.
blockchain,
But
or
it's
just blocks of
static,
data.
I guess. So there's
Yeah, there's
limited usability.
like I remember when I mentioned IPFS earlier. You can host websites on IPFS.
What is IPFS again?
There's
Sorry.
a file system that's hosted on a bunch of nodes.
Okay.
Kind of like a blockchain, but it's
Okay.
at a file system.
Like Google Drive.
It's a file system
but
blockchain.
distributed. Cool.
Yes. And you can host websites on this. You can run on Ethereum. Ethereum is not only a blockchain, it's also a giant virtual machine similar to JVM. And you can run code on Ethereum as a giant, what Ethereum calls a world computer.
Do we have like a log for J for Ethereum yet?
So
There could
Ethereum,
be. Just gotta find
Ethereum
the
runs
vulnerability.
Find out, right?
what's called a smart contract. And this is code that only runs when specific criteria are met. So say, oh, I deposited money into this wallet. This smart contract then triggered, and either you can have it move money, you can have it mint new tokens like USD coin or whatever else you want to call it, whatever other tokens you want to make. You can have it, oh, I put money into this account, I minted a new NFT.
Oh, God.
And that's basically what it does. It allows you to pre-program transactions within the blockchain.
Does this mean I can write code that's hosted for free?
It's not free. It costs money to
Yeah,
run.
I guess.
It costs them money to run.
It
though.
costs gas. It costs you, the developer, gas to publish the script.
Well, to publish the script, but then every time it's run, for
Every time
example-
it's run, it still costs you money.
Oh,
but it's really cheap. It's really cheap. It's cheaper than like any code service you could ever wish for.
So what you're telling me is we be super meta and we use those code samples to further mine more coins.
Meta's trademarked. You have to say something.
The big issue with smart contracts is that they can communicate within. Well, actually, yeah, that's what minting a token is. That's exactly what minting a token is.
Okay.
Yes, but I'm saying, but we can write our own code now
That mines token on the token.
Yeah.
That mines meta tokens.
Yeah. That should be possible for sure.
Theoretically, it is. But
That's hilarious.
one big drawback of the smart contracts is that they cannot.
Assuming proof of work though instead of proof of stake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But go on.
But the blockchain cannot communicate outside of the blockchain. These smart contracts can only communicate within the blockchain. And this concept of what's called an oracle, I didn't read too much into this, but it's called an oracle, and the idea is that you can use a smart contract to make an HTTP request.
Which invalidates your previous statement.
Exactly.
hypothetically.
However, for the most part, you can't communicate outside the blockchain unless you use this oracle, which you have to pay for. So you might as well just not do that and make a traditional website if you want to like.
Well, it depends on the
communicate
cost.
outside.
We have to price it out. See which
I guess it's
one's
fair, but I
cheaper.
think it's more expensive than just hosting a damn website.
This is a wild trip into the blockchain.
Yeah, this is
Isn't it?
for sure. So we went to like storage, processing. It's mainly used for data. Wait, it can also now be used for processing.
Yes.
Weird.
However, so the big push of what's called Web3, that's what the blockchain is. It's called Web3, is decentralizing the web. Taking the web away from Amazon, from Google, from Microsoft.
By Web 3, you mean Web 3.0 versus Web 1.0 and Web 2.0.
Web
right?
2.0 is what we're on right now.
So what was Web 1.0?
If I'm honest, I don't know the history.
ARPANET.
Okay, so I know this question. I was being a
Oh,
little
you know what? You
facetious.
explain it, because this is something that I just know. All I know is that we are on Web 2.0 right now with centralized data centers. People don't want that. They want decentralization. They want freedom. That's what Web 3.0 is. That's all I know.
Yeah,
So if you want to explain it, please do. Please enlighten me. Please educate me.
Sure. In the beginning, there was no internet, right?
Yeah.
So then,
1968.
yeah. So then
Dark times.
people in labs are like, all right, let's make internet. Let's make these computers communicate to each other. That's really cool, right? And so eventually, when the internet came out, the only thing that you could write was like an HTML website, and that was just text that was like on the screen, basically. Right?
Theoretically, that's Web 1.0, right?
That is Web 1.0.
Okay.
Right? It's the first version of the web.
Sure.
Then along came like after I don't know if you guys remember a long time ago, whenever you'd like click on an image, it would like load left to right, top to bottom, and take forever to like
On that
see some-
52K
On
modem.
my
Yeah,
Aunt
yeah.
Lisa's dial up modem.
right. So obviously it was a limitation then, but it's gotten a lot faster now. Like the internet has gotten a lot faster now. Then became Web 2.0, where you have these because our computers are fast enough.
Bye, Quentin.
Because our computers are fast enough, we are able to have these servers that run code that you can go to and retrieve images from. You can, make requests. You can say, put this data here, get the data back. You can go on Twitter feed or whatever. So as a result of Web 2.0, we've had a bunch of these individual companies that have gotten really large that you go to, and that's your primary version of the internet. When you say, hey, I'm going to go on the internet, what you actually mean is I'm going to go on Facebook. I'm going to go on Twitter. I'm going to go on YouTube.
Yeah.
I'm going to go on Instagram, like
Netflix, there's
TikTok.
all those stuff.
Or LinkedIn. There's places that you go on the internet. I mean, people do have their own websites, but people if you look at all the traffic, 99% of traffic goes to those single sources, and or even if you go to a source that isn't traditional, it's still hosted on one single computer, and you go there. And if there's an attack that happened that switch providers, that's possible, because it's hosted by a single provider. So Web 2.0 is super cool now that it has a bunch of functionality, but there are still these single universal people that host these servers essentially.
Those are Amazon, Google, and Microsoft are the big
So
three.
Amazon AWS is the biggest. Do we know that?
Yes.
Yeah, I
Okay,
believe
and
so.
then
By far.
What is Google's called?
Google Cloud
Google
Platform,
Cloud.
and then Microsoft is called Azure.
Okay, we can be confident that they host 95% or more.
Amazon, I don't know how much they make up for, but I know Amazon is roughly 1/3 of the internet.
Interesting. Okay.
So all that together, that's Web 2.0. So then we're saying, hey, we're thinking about blockchain and these cool technologies. What if we made this thing called Web 3.0 that works in a decentralized manner for...
Where one person's website is not hosted on one server. The one person's website is hosted on hundreds and upon thousands of servers.
Right. And I guess to be more specific, since you consider CDNs, a content delivery network, having a
That is-
mirror of websites, we're talking now going from tens of server locations to Thousands?
Yes. So like in an ideal Web 3.0 world, whenever you would go to a website URL, it would find like the nearest server to connect you to. That could be your next door neighbor.
Right.
That could be some guy down the street. That could be anyone.
Okay.
So ideally, it would be an essential. And that's the only issue with Web 3.0 that I see is that the blockchain is big, dude. The blockchain is huge, especially on Ethereum. The blockchain right now is like almost a terabyte. It's massive.
Yeah.
So, like, what if all of a sudden we have the entire internet moved to Web 3.0? We're going to have servers that, oh, yeah, the server has a Core i5, whatever, but it has like 18 terabytes of storage because it has to.
Right. We already know the internet is huge now at however many exabytes or petabytes or whatever
That's my opinion, one of the two biggest drawbacks of Web 3.0. The other big drawback is that, oh my God, these big companies like Amazon, Facebook, Google are going to have so much pushback. They're going to be like, no, we want to host a third of the internet. We want your money.
Right.
Yeah, that, and they have the money to back up that.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Who's going to win, Amazon or your neighbor?
I still truly believe that Web 3.0 is the future. I do. However, I think it's going to be the better part of a decade, maybe two, before Web 3.0 becomes the standard.
Yeah,
It's going to be a long time. That being said, I want to be a pioneer. I want to be one of the first people into Web 3.0, and I'm going to continue my pursuit of researching Web 3.0 technologies.
All right.
So, with that being said, like how technology is advanced, it's crazy to me just to think, that's the future of the world, future of
The internet,
the internet.
freedom, transactions, everything.
150 years ago, what was the most advanced technology?
All right, let's do the math. What was 150 years ago?
Right.
So that was
1850.
1870?
Literally the Industrial Revolution was in not its peak, but close to
The
it.
Chicago World's Fair was like, look, this is a wheel.
I mean,
Get around from place to place.
I mean, honestly, that was
a horseless carriage.
Right.
Think about it,
that was
though.
a crazy change, though.
Up
Yeah,
until
really.
18, maybe 30, the fastest form of transportation we had was a horse.
Right. 1 horsepower, ideally.
And then we had trains.
Right.
And then 150 years later, we've since put a man on the moon.
Yeah, that's
Think
pretty
about
wild.
how
And now I can watch that man being put on the moon on my death.
Yeah, the nightmare rectangle.
The nightmare rectangle. That's what
I,
it's
li-
called.
I literally have like the whole accumulation of all human knowledge in my hand,
Yeah.
and then we're talking about within 20 to 30 years, it's gonna make another big jump.
Yeah.
Yeah, the two big jumps I see coming up up and running, I don't know just when, I guess, is smart glasses, so you're more integrated into the internet experience as it pertains to everything else.
I have a mixed opinion on that.
I guess wearables in general, because I know that some people don't like the form factor of the glasses, but like wearable technology.
I have mixed
If you
opinions.
don't
on
like wearable technology, you might especially not like this other one, which is brain computer interfaces.
I refuse.
Brain computer interfaces.
I refuse.
You refuse right now, but in the future, if you choose not to, you probably are going to be at a very large disadvantage. For example, if you
Yeah.
choose not to have a cell phone right now, you're at a
Yeah.
disadvantage. Sure, you
You
don't have
are
to have a cell phone.
correct, but I'm going to. I'm normally the type of person. I'm normally like you. I like to jump on the new tech. I don't like jumping on new tech that connects to my fucking nervous system.
Yeah, but I mean, they're going to figure stuff out over time, of course, right?
And I'm not. And that's the one tech that could kill me. That's the tech that I'm going to be a little bit more hesitant about.
I mean, a car can kill you.
Yeah,
More
electricity
likely
can
than
kill
anything
you.
else
I
in
mean-
your life, I would say.
Yeah, but cars have had literally 110 years to advance.
Yep.
And I'm gonna like that. And now I trust. Yeah, I trust my car today, and it's gonna have play. I even trust his self-driving car.
Yeah.
But at the
PlayStation controlled. Yeah.
for reference, Ian is right there, and we have a video coming out again for the second time
Stay tuned.
of us driving a car with a PS4 controller. Stay tuned for that.
Yeah.
But like I trust that technology, but I don't know how much I trust the technology and the reason why I will tell you why is have any of you played Cyberpunk 2077 yet?
Only
Yes.
for an hour.
It hasn't been cheap enough for
I know
me.
you have for a short time. I don't know if you have.
My roommate was so pissed about how buggy it was when it first came out that he said, I'm waiting until February, this would be February 2021, to buy it after they fix all the bugs. And then they never fixed all the bugs, so I just have
Now,
never
its
bought
current
it.
state is actually, first of all, in its current state, it doesn't have a lot of bugs.
Maybe someday. It's on my wish list. If it
I
ever
also
goes
have a hot
under.
take on that. If they would have just made it next gen and PC, it would have been a great game.
Yeah, PC didn't have that many bugs on
PC
launch,
didn't
actually.
have that many bugs, and PS5 and Xbox Series X didn't really have that much problems with it either.
Anyway,
was just the Xbox
But cyberpunk
One.
as a genre, I mean, is it
So-
generalized?
yeah. Well, no. This is what I'm going to go
Specific?
for. This is a very specific scene in the game.
Okay.
Spoilers for anyone who hasn't played the game yet, but I don't know how much. It's just, this is right at the beginning
You're
of the
not gonna
game.
spoil it for me.
This is literally the first 30 minutes you play. So if you pick, when you play the game, you get 3 paths you can choose your character to start out in. You can choose your character to be like a corporate, like high person, high up in the corporate ladder. You can pick them to be like in the desert, boonies gang member. And I don't remember what's the third option. There's a third option.
I don't remember.
You don't remember either? There's a third option.
Not very memorable,
Don't
I
remember
guess.
what it is, but it's memorable, not memorable enough that no one cares.
Okay.
But the corporate option, I picked the corporate option. And one of the
Interesting.
opening scenes of the game is that you walk into your boss's office and he's watching a vote at the European Union or whatever that world equivalent of the European Union is. And he calls and says, we need to make sure that this vote passes. And then you watch everyone hook up to a human brain interface thing. And everyone fucking dies.
Well, I see how that could be construed as perhaps maybe undesirable.
Yeah, that's what I'm terrified of.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely crazy hacks that can and will happen, right? Like,
Fuck, there was a pacemaker that people had that could be Wi-Fi connected, and you can hack in and run code to stop people's hearts.
That's actually a really good point that people are worried about, like the Internet of Things in general. When you have like biometric,
I love the
tied-in
Internet of Things.
devices.
Dude, I think smart home shit is the coolest ever. I just don't want Google, like, knowing when I shower. I don't know.
Or Jeff Bezos.
Yeah, like, hey, Alexa, show my girlfriend an ad for that new computer thing I really, really want.
There you go.
I know
There
you
are
don't-
no Alexas in this
okay, I
room.
was waiting for a response.
I'm sorry, I don't hear anything.
There's one in my bedroom.
Actually, rip everyone who's listening that listens on.
speakerphone.
We're so sorry.
Oh, jeez. Listen with headphones.
Actually, you're welcome because now you're getting that computer thing you want.
Well,
Yeah,
here's the
there
thing.
you go.
I like technology, but like that's the whole reason. I guess going back to my Bitcoin conversation or my blockchain conversation, I really like the idea of decentralizing the web because then I would trust the Internet of Things more almost by having it decentralized. But anyway, continue with.
That's
the
true. I mean, but
conversation
there
we're
are still
having.
penetrations that can happen where.
I guess then some would argue, well, then everyone knows about your data.
Yeah.
I mean, the goal would be to have each device also be secure in its own sense, right?
And
So that way you
anonymized.
can't
And
run
anonymized.
code on people's pacemakers. That way
Right,
they
yeah,
can, their
exactly.
heart will stop, right?
There's
Like-
proof of stake on your pacemaker.
But it's really funny just to think about some of the things that will happen. Like, let's say you're a brain computer interface. There can be screens that are levitating in front of me right now that only I can see.
Yeah.
Right. But then you can hack my system and make it so that way, no matter what I want, there are ads just flashing in my
I would
eyesight at
hate-
all
Are you
times.
tired of going to bed at night and you see dreams of you working in that job you worked at in the food court 10 years ago? Well, with Amazon DreamSync Plus, you can see dreams of the hottest new technology for only $19.99. You know, that's
As a
I think
service
the
even.
dystopia everyone's really worried about. It's
Yes.
just boring ads and everything you see and do. It's just more and more ads.
Yeah. I mean, in the ideal world,
I have to install ad blocker into my human computer interface.
You have
That
to
was-
JTAG your neck implant.
That was done really, really well.
Well, I really hope Jeff Bezos isn't going to watch this and get some
Speaking
ideas.
of nightmare rectangles,
Right. Yeah, here's a new nightmare for you.
I mean, hopefully, right? The goal with targeted advertising versus normal advertising, which a lot of people, it's very controversial also.
Yeah.
Targeted advertising sucks though. Anyway, continue.
Imagine if targeted advertising was good. It'd be like you're consuming content that you wanted to watch anyways, hypothetically, right?
Yeah, but that's not what happens.
Yeah,
Instead, I
if
get
it isn't.
I get ads to Disney World in Spanish.
That's true. That's true.
No, literally, that happened. Me and Haley were watching Hulu last night, and they gave me a Spanish ad, and she's like, "Damn, the algorithm knows you're in Spanish class."
Oh my gosh. That's amazing.
But like, even then, like, we just went, and there's the thing. I think the algorithm is behind with me because we went to Disney World 2 weeks ago.
I mean, it's probably a turnaround time.
Thinking emoji. I wonder how they knew
Calculating when it's his birthday.
that. Yeah, exactly.
Well, no. Speaking of the algorithm, I was getting like articles on my Google, which I guess I use Google Newsfeed a lot on my phone, which I probably shouldn't because it's
I do as well, actually.
It's basically targeted advertising, but in news form.
Yeah, it's actually gotten pretty good in my
It
opinion.
has gotten pretty good, but then like about a week before I was going to Disney World, which I'll talk about in the next podcast. Stay tuned. Because I have reviews for the best Star Wars rides at Disney. Stay tuned, please. But
I'm
they
curious what mine even looks like. I haven't been on it in a while.
they were showing me articles for best rides at Disney and like best places to eat at Disney.
That's freaky, right?
Yeah. Like, and I'm like, okay, I'm not opposed to this, but this is a little too real. Like, oh my God.
Yeah, I think it is kind of cool that at least like with the Google feed, it seems that it's pretty friendly as far as you can tailor your interests and what you see.
Yeah.
But one of the things I've noticed more and more about ads that, especially that are from Google's ad service, whatever it is, AdSense, that one of the biggest things they'll say, you can report ads for either, being, this makes me uncomfortable, this is whatever. But the fact that you have to say, this makes me uncomfortable, and that's one of 5 options in an advertisement, so they know they're being intrusive, right? I mean, when you go to the new steakhouse and you're like, oh, wow, that was great, and then you go home and you see an ad for that place that you just went to, you're like, why is this happening? Like, are they looking at where I'm going? That's scary. It can only get worse,
Some
right?
of the theory is not so much that it knows you went there, it's just scary good at predicting what your behavior is.
But I don't want that either.
Yeah, I forget if I talked about this before in the podcast, but I think there's a whole thing where there's this dad and he had a daughter, and Target was sending them targeted advertising for having a kid.
I've heard this.
Yeah, you mentioned that.
Yeah, and okay, sorry, I did already talk about, but yeah. So I guess I'll finish the quick version just for people who haven't seen the previous podcast, which is like the dad went to Target. He yelled at Target and was like, "Do not try to sell my daughter like diapers and other things for baby stuff.
Yeah.
That's really bad." And Target was like, "Oh my gosh, sorry." And then he came back like a week later, was like, "Sorry, there's something I didn't realize was happening. I apologize for yelling at you." And it turned out, the daughter was totally pregnant. And so the Target, I think it was Target. It might have been a different store, but I should mention the company knew that the daughter was pregnant before the dad did.
Right. Crazy. Yeah. And the reason why the dad got mad is because the daughter was underage. Yeah. That's the reason why he got mad.
My daughter couldn't be pregnant, right?
Yeah,
but
exactly.
it is kind of scary. I mean, how you think that sometimes, even as we joke about how terrible the algorithm is and like how awful it is at predicting behavior, how sometimes scarily accurate it is almost more worrisome when you're like, well, now this could be a real factor in 10 or 20 years when the world changes unimaginably more. What's going to happen to targeted advertising?
I don't know, because I don't know if Web3, like I just talked about, gets rid of it, but it definitely makes it harder.
Oh yeah,
and it makes it a lot harder because it becomes like almost untrackable.
What's crazy is that if it gets better, like people start using it as a news source, and then technically you can use it to inject news in something that people trust.
Mark Zuckerberg.
We're already really good at doing that. So.
Yep.
Wonder what the metaverse will offer us. And
dude, my favorite. So about the metaverse, someone commented and said, "Oh, the metaverse is just a VR chat competitor that Facebook hyped up."
Yes, correct.
I don't necessarily disagree, actually.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. And then people are like, "Oh, Snoop Dogg's investment firm spent $5 million on metaverse real estate." And I'm like,
exactly. Yeah, everyone's facepalming at all these, the manufactured articles about this new real estate we're buying in the virtual world.
One of my favorite ones is Paris Hilton invested like $5 million into a Roblox game, something like that. And I go, what?
Hey, that's meme manufacturer. Someday we could probably trade memes on the blockchain, and that'll be the new currency.
Welcome to NFTs.
Yeah, exactly.
NFTs aren't bad, okay? What's bad is people scamming people who don't know about the blockchain out of NFTs.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, because like Kyle and I had a conversation about this night. I'm not against NFTs per se. Would I ever buy one? Maybe not. But am I against them? No. What I am against is my YouTube ads coming up and telling me, "Oh, you can get a metaverse girlfriend that you can." What? And I'm like, what? Like, what is this?
Oh man!
And then like he was
like, not stalking you enough.
Is like looking over your shoulder, really upset.
What's this all about? Who's she?
And then like it was like the metaverse girlfriend thing, and he's like, "Yeah, you can combine NFTs for unique metaverse." I'm like, that's not how NFTs work, dude. You don't know what you're talking about.
We live in a boring dystopia.
Yes, we do. We are a Black Mirror episode.
Right, exactly.
You guys know Chad Kroger, right?
Nope.
Nope.
Resounding no. Sorry, Chad. I haven't met you.
Lead singer Nickelback.
Oh, yeah, I know exactly who you're talking about.
Still no, but I know Nickelback.
Okay, so
the blonde guy who sounds like he's had too much whiskey. Got it.
Look at
recently,
I love Nickelback. Actually,
so
I'm
he
sorry.
used to always do nativity scenes. It was just something that he loved to do.
Did he look like Jesus?
Yeah,
Okay,
it's just
that's
something
fine.
that he loved to do.
Blonde
so
Jesus.
he would play the sheep. He would play the cow. He would play Joseph.
Never mind. Not
The
what I
cow.
thought this was going with.
He would do Jesus. He
Didn't
did
expect
Mary
that.
once. coming to mixed
I'm just
reviews.
imagining the lead
But-
singer of Nickelback in a manger, like curled up in a fetal position.
But this last year, he just decided to stop. He's been doing it for over 20 years. You know,
Man.
it's because he never made it as a wise man. I just love the fact that you guys were going along with it, and I knew exactly where I was going.
This elaborate joke has been brought to you by Amazon.
okay.
No.
Well, I think that's everything. Thank you so much for listening to the Casual Coders podcast. As
Not
always,
sponsored by Amazon. That was a joke.
Oh my gosh,
Or
yep.
China.
And talked about a lot of cool topics this week, crypto and everything. We will talk to you guys next time. Have a great day.